The victory is already yours. And now, you are simply approaching the moment when you will see it. Most people stop too soon, not because they failed, but because they doubted during the quiet interval between decision and appearance. Yet this pause is not emptiness. It is preparation. It is the space where what is unseen gathers form. The moment you accepted your desire as fulfilled within, the outcome was sealed. Life does not debate that decision, it follows it. Every circumstance, every encounter, every shift you notice or don't notice is quietly aligning itself with the state you have already occupied. You may wonder why nothing seems different yet, but understand this: change always happens inward first. The outer world is the last to receive the message. When the mirror hasn't changed, it doesn't mean your face hasn't. It only means the reflection is catching up. This is why you must keep going, not with strain, not with force, but with calm certainty. Persistence is not repetition of words, it is loyalty to a feeling. It is remaining faithful to the knowing that this is done even when the senses offer no evidence. Especially then, do not argue with appearances. They are outdated information. What you are seeing now was shaped by former assumptions, not your present decision. Your present state is already creating something new, and it cannot fail to express itself. You are not hoping anymore. You are not wishing anymore. You are remembering. Remember who you are when you feel at peace about your desire. Remember the quiet confidence that comes when you no longer chase, but allow. That feeling is the sign. That feeling is the proof. The world must follow what you consistently assume to be true. It has no choice. So keep going, not because you're trying to win, but because you already have. And very soon, what you know inwardly will stand before you outwardly, undeniable, solid, and real. You already won, now you'll see it. The victory is already decided, not in some distant future, not in a world outside of you, but within the quiet depth of your own awareness. What you seek was settled the moment you accepted it as real inside yourself. Long before circumstances move, before evidence appears, before anyone else can see a change, the decision is made inwardly. Life does not begin with outer action. It begins with inner agreement. When you consent internally to an outcome, you initiate a process that cannot be reversed, because the source has already spoken. Most people misunderstand victory because they wait for signs. They believe success arrives only when the senses confirm it. But the deeper truth is that the senses are followers, not leaders. They echo decisions that were already finalized within. The moment you stop asking whether it will happen and begin knowing that it has happened, the struggle ends. That knowing is not loud or dramatic. It is calm, settled, and certain. It feels natural, almost ordinary, and that is how you know it is real. What you seek does not require effort to be created, only acceptance to be expressed. The inner decision carries more power than any external action because it speaks the language life understands. Once you have claimed something inwardly, the world reorganizes itself around that claim. People change, opportunities appear, and events align in ways you could never plan logically. This is not coincidence. It is the natural response of reality to an inner conclusion already reached. You may still experience moments of doubt, not because the victory is uncertain, but because the mind is adjusting to a new state. Old habits of thinking may question what has already been settled. This does not undo the decision unless you fully withdraw your inner consent. A passing thought cannot cancel a deep acceptance. The seed has already been planted, and even when the ground looks unchanged, growth is taking place below the surface. The delay you perceive is not resistance, it is incubation. Everything moves according to its own rhythm, and the unseen always precedes the seen. When you remain inwardly aligned with the outcome, you allow the process to unfold without interference. Forcing, worrying, or constantly checking only pulls attention back to the old state. Peace, on the other hand, keeps you anchored in the truth that it is already done. To understand this is to rest. You no longer chase, persuade, or prove. You simply live from the assumption that what you desire is yours. From that place, action becomes effortless and timing becomes precise. The victory does not arrive suddenly, it reveals itself naturally, as something that was always meant to be. And when it does, you will recognize it not as a miracle, but as a confirmation of what you already knew within. Persistence is not about force, repetition, or struggle. It is about remaining loyal to an inner knowing regardless of what the outer world appears to say. Continuance in this quiet certainty is what allows reality to reveal itself. The outer world is fluid and responsive, but it moves according to inner direction. When you persist inwardly, you are not trying to make something happen. You are allowing what is already set in motion to complete its journey into form. Inner knowing is subtle. It is not the excitement of hope or the urgency of desire. It is the calm awareness that something is settled. Persistence means you return to that awareness again and again, especially when appearances suggest otherwise. The world may look unchanged, situations may seem delayed, and results may appear distant, but these are not indicators of failure. They are simply the echo of previous states, still playing out. Persistence keeps you anchored in the present assumption, rather than reacting to outdated reflections. Most people abandon their inner position too quickly. They hold the knowing for a moment, then surrender it to doubt when they see no immediate confirmation. Yet reality cannot instantly rearrange itself. It must move through people, circumstances, and timing that are beyond conscious planning. Persistence allows these unseen adjustments to occur without interruption. Every time you return to the inner conviction, you reinforce the direction life is already taking. This continuance is not stressful. True persistence feels more like relaxation than effort. It is choosing again and again not to contradict yourself internally. You stop asking, is it working, because that question belongs to uncertainty. Instead, you live as someone who already knows. This knowing shapes your reactions, your expectations, and even your silence. You begin to respond to life from a different level, and life responds in kind. Outer proof does not come as a reward for effort, it comes as a reflection of consistency. The world mirrors what you sustain inwardly, not what you occasionally affirm. When your inner state remains steady, reality has no option but to conform. It must express what is most consistently assumed. This is why persistence is more powerful than intensity. A calm, unwavering assumption carries more creative force than emotional highs followed by doubt. As you persist, something shifts within you before anything shifts around you. The need for reassurance fades, you feel less urgency and more peace. This inner stability is the sign that alignment is complete. From that place, Outer proof arrives naturally, often unexpectedly, because the work was already done within. When the manifestation appears, it feels familiar, almost inevitable. You recognize it as the outer echo of an inner truth you refused to abandon. Persistence did not create it, persistence revealed it. Seeing does not lead belief, belief leads seeing. This is one of the most misunderstood truths of creation. Most people wait for visible confirmation before allowing themselves to feel certain, safe, or fulfilled. They tell themselves they will believe once the evidence appears, yet the outer world can only display what has already been accepted inwardly. To reverse this order is to remain stuck, because appearances are not causes, they are results. Being comes first. What you consistently assume yourself to be, to have, or to experience forms the foundation from which all seeing emerges. When you change your state of being, you change the lens through which life is perceived, and that new perception eventually solidifies into physical experience. Belief is not pretending or imagining without conviction. It is an inner decision about what is true now, regardless of what the senses report. When you believe first, you step into a new identity. You no longer relate to life as someone hoping for change, but as someone expecting alignment. This shift may feel subtle, but it is profound. Your reactions soften, your choices adjust naturally, and your attention moves toward possibilities instead of limitations. You are not forcing positivity, you are embodying a state. From that state, seeing becomes inevitable. Waiting to see before believing keeps you bound to old conditions. It hands authority to circumstances and allows the past to dictate the future. Believing before seeing, on the other hand, breaks this cycle. It places creative power back within you. You stop being a reactor to life and become a silent director. The world, in response, begins to rearrange itself to match the inner position you occupy. This does not mean ignoring reality or denying challenges. It means understanding their temporary nature. What you see now reflects former beliefs, not current ones. When you believe in advance, you are planting a new cause. The delay between belief and sight is not failure, it is transition. During this time, the inner state must remain intact so it can fully express itself outwardly. Being is not something you do occasionally, it is something you live from. You move through your day with an inner sense of completion rather than anticipation. You feel aligned instead of anxious. This inner consistency is what brings clarity to the outer world. Gradually, what once felt like imagination begins to feel natural, and what felt natural begins to appear. When seeing finally follows being, it feels almost secondary. The outer confirmation is satisfying but not surprising. You recognize it as the visible version of a truth you already accepted. This is why belief must come first. The world does not convince you, it confirms you. And once you understand this order, you no longer wait for permission to believe. You decide, and then you see. Everything you experience is shaped not by chance, not by effort alone, but by what you consistently accept as true within yourself. Inner assumption is the quiet agreement you hold about who you are, what is possible for you, and how life responds to you. This agreement operates whether you are aware of it or not. Life does not question your assumptions, it simply reflects them. The world rearranges itself not in response to your wishes, but in response to your accepted inner truth. An assumption is more powerful than a desire because it does not ask, it declares. Desire says, I want, while assumption says, this is. When something is assumed, the mind stops searching for evidence and begins expecting alignment. That expectation influences perception, behavior, and opportunity in subtle but precise ways. You notice different things, you respond differently, and people respond differently to you. These shifts may appear ordinary, but together they form the pathway through which reality reorganizes itself. Most people try to change their world by struggling with conditions, unaware that conditions are effects, not causes. When you fight appearances, you reinforce them. When you accept a new inner position, appearances gradually lose authority. Life begins to echo your inner stance. Doors open without force, resistance dissolves without argument, and situations resolve themselves without struggle. This is not because the world suddenly becomes generous, but because it is aligning with the assumption you now hold. Inner assumption works through consistency. What you accept occasionally has little impact. What you accept habitually becomes law. This is why fleeting affirmations or emotional highs rarely produce lasting change. It is the steady, calm acceptance that reshapes experience. When your inner dialogue, expectations, and emotional tone align with a chosen truth, life must conform. It cannot do otherwise. The world may seem unchanged. This is not a contradiction, it is a delay. Existing conditions were formed by earlier assumptions and must play out. But as you remain faithful to the new inner truth, the old structures weaken. New patterns begin to form. Encounters feel timed, opportunities feel natural, and outcomes feel inevitable. The rearrangement happens quietly, often unnoticed until the result is complete. You do not need to control how this happens. Life handles the details. Your only responsibility is to remain inwardly aligned with what you have accepted as true. When doubt arises, it is not a command to retreat, but an invitation to reaffirm. Each return to the assumption strengthens its hold. The outer world reflects back what you have long known inwardly. When this happens, it feels less like success and more like recognition. You are not surprised, you are validated. Life has rearranged itself not to reward you, but to mirror you. And once you understand this, you realize that changing your world is not about effort, it is about agreement. Agreement. Delay is often misunderstood as failure, yet it is nothing more than the natural interval between inner decision and outer expression. When the senses report silence, it does not mean nothing is happening. It means the movement has shifted to a level beyond immediate perception. The unseen is always active first. Every meaningful change begins where the eyes cannot see and the hands cannot touch. To mistake this quiet phase for denial is to misjudge the process entirely. The senses are limited reporters. They can only register what has already taken form, not what is currently forming. When you have made an inner shift, when you have accepted a new truth about yourself or your life, the outer world does not instantly mirror it. Reality must reorganize itself through countless unseen adjustments. People's attitudes change, circumstances reposition, and pathways open in ways that cannot be tracked linearly. This reorganization requires time, not because it is difficult, but because it is precise. Delay tests loyalty to the inner decision. It reveals whether belief is rooted in knowing or dependent on evidence. If you retreat the moment nothing appears, you withdraw the very agreement that allowed movement to begin. But when you remain inwardly steady during silence, you allow the unseen to complete its work. Patience in this sense is not passive waiting. It is active trust in a process already underway. Many abandon their inner position just before the shift becomes visible. They assume nothing is happening because nothing is seen. Yet the greatest transformations often occur in stillness. Just as roots grow in darkness before a tree appears above ground, reality arranges itself out of sight before revealing itself in form. The silence is not empty, it is full of motion. When you understand that delay is not denial, urgency dissolves. You stop checking for signs and stop measuring progress. This inner relaxation is not indifference, it is confidence. It signals alignment. From this state, you no longer interfere with the process by doubting, forcing, or overthinking. You allow life to deliver in its own way at the right moment. The unseen responds to consistency, not impatience. Each time you return to the assumption that it is done, you strengthen the pathway through which it will appear. Doubt may still arise, but it does not have to be believed. A thought does not undo a decision unless you give it authority. The silence breaks. What seemed delayed arrives naturally, often suddenly, and always clearly. When it does, you realize the waiting was never empty time. It was preparation. The unseen was moving all along, arranging, aligning, and perfecting. And the moment you see the result, you understand that denial never existed, only timing, purpose, and quiet movement beneath the surface. To keep going without questioning is not an act of blind hope, but an expression of deep inner trust. It is the decision to remain faithful to what you have accepted as true, even when the mind looks for reasons to doubt. Questioning often feels intelligent and cautious, yet it quietly weakens faith by dividing attention. Calm persistence, on the other hand, unifies the inner state. It allows the work that has already begun to reach its natural completion. Faith is not proven through emotional intensity or constant affirmation. It is revealed through steadiness. When you no longer feel the urge to analyze, explain, or repeatedly check for results, you are demonstrating faith in its purest form. This calm persistence signals certainty. It says, without words, that the outcome is settled. Life responds to this signal with precision because it reflects what is most consistently held within. Questioning interrupts alignment. Each time you ask whether it will happen, you momentarily step out of the state where it already has. This does not mean you must control every thought, but it does mean you choose where to return. Calm persistence is the practice of gently bringing yourself back to inner certainty whenever the mind wanders. There is no struggle in this return, only remembrance. Keeping going does not mean forcing action or maintaining constant focus. It means living your life from the assumption that the matter is resolved. You move forward without urgency. You make decisions without fear. You respond to situations from confidence rather than anticipation. This natural way of being is what allows faith to do its work without resistance. Many people stop just before completion, not because they lack belief, but because they grow tired of not seeing immediate proof. Yet, completion does not require effort from you, it requires permission. Calm persistence gives that permission by refusing to withdraw belief. It allows the unseen process to unfold without interference. There is power in not checking. There is strength in not demanding reassurance. When you remain inwardly settled, the need for external confirmation fades. This inner peace is not ignorance, it is alignment. It indicates that the inner and outer are already moving toward agreement. Faith completes the work because it removes opposition. When you stop questioning, you stop resisting. The path clears, timing aligns, and results appear naturally. Often they arrive when you are least concerned with them, because concern was never the creative force, faith was. To keep going without questioning is to trust the intelligence of life itself. You do not need to know how it will happen or when it will unfold. Your role is simpler and more powerful. Remain loyal to what you have decided within. When you do, the outcome cannot remain unfinished. Calm persistence carries it forward, and faith brings it home. In conclusion, the message is simple yet profound. Everything begins within. The victory is already decided. Persistence reveals reality. Belief precedes sight. Inner assumptions shape the world. Delay is never denial, and calm, unwavering faith completes the work. When you stop fighting appearances and remain loyal to your inner knowing, life naturally rearranges itself to confirm what you have accepted as true. You are not waiting for life to change. You are allowing it to catch up to who you have already become. Keep going without questioning. Remain steady in your inner certainty and trust the unseen movement that is always working in your favor.